Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another week here with us at Delta Racing League. We are going to be kicking off the second race of our 11th season, the Fast and the Furiously Slow. And we will be in the Netherlands this evening, racing at Zandvoort Circuit. And it'll certainly be an interesting one. Anybody who missed last week's race, it is a mixed class season this season. We'll be racing Porsche Cup cars and BMW M2s. For anybody who missed it, we were at Kailami last week. It was an absolutely explosive race. Tons of action to be seen throughout the entire field, no doubt as a result of the mixed field, keeping things nice and shaken up. But we are getting ready to start our qualifying session here at Zandvoort. It is going to be the Porsche Cup cars out onto the track first, and give me just 1 second, and I'll get our cameras over there. For anybody who may not remember, you should remember, we're the second race. We're one race into the season, so we already have some of our ideas of who is how fast, but being a new track, you never know what might happen here. After free practice, things were looking pretty well paced for the majority of the drivers. The Porsche Cup cars all kind of hanging out within 2 seconds of each other, and the BMW M2s not being too far off of that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get track side. We're going to take a look over at Michael Yaknis, getting ready to finish up his lap to warm up his tires, get everything dialed in, and we should start to see the first of our qualifying times coming in here in the near future. But joining me in the commentator's booth here in just a moment is going to be one of our BMW M2 drivers has decided to sacrifice his qualification lap so that he can join us over in the commentary booth. I'm going to go ahead and drag him down here now. Oh, it doesn't appear that I can. That's interesting. Can I drag him to waiting room? Sir, if you're watching the stream, I think you might have to click into the box yourself, but we're trying to get him over here. Trying to figure that out right now, folks. Just trying to do the intro before I dragged him in here, but that seems to have backfired anyway. Looking over at Michael Yaknis right now, still doing a good job of negotiating the track, keeping things nice and tidy on this out lap. And there he is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me in the commentator's booth is going to be none other than Jeff Spangler himself. Jeff, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I am good. How are you doing?
I am doing all right. Getting ready for, I'm sure, much more action here at Zandvoort. Very tricky track on its own, but mix in the mixed class that we've got today, and it is definitely going to be action-packed. Opting not to take your qualification lap's a pretty confident move, but we're glad to have you here in the commentator's booth to help us get through this qualifying session. Give me just 1 second, and I'll give you the perspective of what we're watching on stream here.
Yeah, I can only make this race and the next one, and then round 4 is the last one, so I'm definitely not expecting to win the race. We've got a couple very quick M2 drivers, and that way I'll let them fight it out for the championship. But I would say one of the advantages of sim racing and commentating is you have the opportunity to sit in there during the practice session with the drivers and audience. If you've seen the things that we saw during that hour, it's going to be very interesting with the pace difference in these cars, that is for sure.
Yeah, and Zandvoort, not already a pretty difficult track to pass on, a lot of fast sweeping corners that can make really any of these cars difficult to drive, but passing is going to be interesting. We already were getting into a couple of disagreements between how the M2s and the Porsche Cup cars should be behaving on passes, whether they should be going out wide and pretty much sacrificing a lap to let the PCCs through, or just kind of let things happen. So it'll be interesting to see once we get into the race and the adrenaline is flowing if the drivers will still be able to communicate right now. We're watching Ryan Yee, currently sitting on the pole with a 1:37.4. It is a very quick time based on the practice pace. We'll see if he's able to keep it up. Andy Mayer, not far off in pace. Let's see what his lap was, a 1:37.722. So pretty close, just a couple of tenths separating the two drivers. Let's throw that up there on the screen just so we can get an idea of how fast everybody is in relation to first place. Michael Yaknis pretty close to second as well. Tomas Ortiz not very far behind. Right now, Sam Snelltrain up a half second on his previous best lap. And maybe catching up to some traffic. We'll see if he's able to hang on to the pace. But you'll be driving there. And actually, as I say that, Andy Mayer is going to set the fastest lap of the session with a 1:37.16. But Ryan Yee on pace to set the fastest lap and snatch it right back for first place. And how would you say, I mean, aside from the obvious, one's much faster and doesn't have traction control, but as far as how you're approaching this track in the M2, what would you say are the biggest differences between this and the Porsche Cup car?
Well, I will be totally transparent. I've driven the new Cup car for a total of probably 10 minutes at Silverstone one time. But I can compare it to a GT3. I think the BMW is a great starter car. Everybody seems to say that. But sometimes some braking zones seem to be so long in the car that it's almost hard to judge because, you know, you're going slower, the brakes suck, so it takes forever for you to actually stop the car. And if you mistime it, you can even try to modulate your brake a little bit if you feel like you broke too early. Well, it could turn out that you didn't, and then you overshot your braking zone. And at Zandvoort, that can be pretty bad in this particular car.
Yeah, especially considering, I mean, if it's already struggling for brakes and you miss the corner, it's not exactly like many of these corners have runoff for you to be able to recover before hitting a wall, especially through sectors 2 and 3.
Yeah, right at the end of Sector 1 is definitely going to be tricky for both cars because depending on when you get caught and when you catch, the BMWs kind of have to hedge their bets and cut the little crest right when you get to the top of the hill. And if you don't turn in early enough, you are going to go wide when you start going downhill at the beginning of Sector 2. So that's going to be an interesting one.
Tomas Ortiz rounding the final corner, a second up on his previous best lap time, and that is going to be a flyer of a lap. So it's a 1:37.282, moving him up into third place. And fastest lap is once again capitalized on by Ryan Yee, breaking the 1:37 barrier with a 1:36.930. That is going to be tough for the rest of the field to catch up. We'll see if Andy Mayer or Tomas Ortiz have it in them. Not a lot of improvement needed in order to catch up to him, but that is definitely going to be a tough time to match. Elliott Levine on a pretty good lap, 3/10 in the Delta at the moment. And I wouldn't have a shot in hell at trying to remember the turn numbers here at Zandvoort, but about halfway through his lap right now, finding more time, now up to 6/10. And one thing, it's been a while since I've driven at Zandvoort, but a lot of these long sweeping corners require an exceptional amount of patience, especially in the Porsche Cup car. You don't have that TC to rely on to get your right foot down and try and force your way out the exit of the corner. You really got to focus on setting these ones up correctly and getting on the power at the right time. Elliott Levine doing a good job of managing that so far.
Obviously a death sentence if you don't manage to do that.
And as we see there, probably on the power a little early at there for Elliott Levine, puts him pretty lightly into the wall there.
It was funny during the practice, I commented on how many varieties of ways I saw Cup cars die around me, so I can't wait. I'm sitting in the pits here, and the BMWs are queuing up to head out at the 10-minute mark, so Porsche Cup cars that finish their laps within the next 45 or so seconds will be able to do another flyer, and after that they're done. Obviously it would be total carnage if we had these two cars qualifying at the same time, so we'll see the TCX cars out pretty soon.
Dustin Fletcher setting a new personal best, 1:39.332, moving him up into 11th, and we can see there on the picture-in-picture camera there, the BMW is waiting at the entry of pit lane there, getting ready to get their laps started.
Car number 30 looks like they might not be able to start another lap and has not set a valid lap, which is going to be interesting.
It'll be, yeah, interesting is a good word for it. I'm curious where he would be let out onto the start grid.
I hope this is a valid lap. I can't tell.
Let's take a look at car number 30. This would be Jose Estee.
There he goes.
There it is. It does set a valid lap, 1:41.252. and he will be on the grid, not behind the BMWs, so I'm sure he'll be happy about that. Looks like Dylan Brick and Matt Byrne are going to be the first two out onto the track. Matt Byrne winning the M2 class at Kyalami. We'll see if he's got it in him to get another first place finish here.
Sitting in the pits, it's interesting. I've gone from a symphony of angry hornets to a bunch of vacuum cleaners puttering around. Although there's a few Porsches still finishing their laps here. It looks like, okay. I'm just looking at the map here, trying to figure out what's going on. Never mind, never mind.
It really is amazing, just the stark contrast of just volume level between all of these cars. Because now we're getting the full effect of it. We don't hear the Porsches screaming in the background. Now it is just the BMWs out on the track. And it has gotten decidedly quieter.
Yeah, they are all bunched up coming through Sector 2. It's going to be interesting to see. Another kind of bummer about the BMW is that, you know, especially if we only give 10 minutes of qualifying for each, the tires are not in tire blankets, so they are ice cold when you go out on track. So it can be like your third lap before they're up to where you want the pressures to be. And with only 10-minute qualifying, that doesn't leave you a lot of room for error for your qualifying laps. So looks like Matt Byrne's about to cross the line and start our first flying lap.
We will, yeah, let me get him pulled up on the picture-in-picture. I'm very interested to watch this pack of 3 BMWs that are going to be trying up. Actually, one of them going into the pits already, but is going to be led off by Javier Miranda, and I believe that is Ryan Garrity right behind him. But if my cameras would cooperate, we could take a look over at Matt Byrne's lap here at the same time. There we go. Ryan Garrity makes a pass during qualifying there on the inside. And now Sam Carasala is going to try and get the jump around there. Javier Miranda just kind of left out to dry. And we'll likely have to take another shot at this qualifying lap. We'll keep an eye on Ryan Garrity out there in front. I'd be very curious to see how a one 20-minute quali with everybody on the track would go here. I'm sure it would be a bloodbath.
That's exactly the word I was thinking of.
Let's see, where is Matt Byrne at? Got about a third of the track left to go there. Let me here, I'll just go ahead and throw his name up there just so we know who we're watching. Why does... I'm not sure why Liam McNeil has a yellow flag right now, but he is in the pits. Or at least very close to it. Alright, let's check in. Oh, somebody stopped there on the track. And we've got a car off in the background there. Ryan Garrity is going to stay out in front of it. What is going on back here? Edgardo Donoso, I guess waiting for a window to get back out on track, is going to pull out in front of the other BMW. And an update on Matt Byrne, we do have our first laps across the line. We've got a 150.16 from Matt Byrne and a 150.34 from Dylan Brick. Ryan Garrity going to cross the line with a 154.72. Evan Toth now across the line, 151.59. And he's going to go ahead and put it back into the pits. Ryan Garrity, though, finding a ton of time here in this first sector. Already almost 2 seconds in the Delta. And pretty much on his own out there for this lap. Matt Byrne still pretty much in lockstep with his previous lap. No improvement or time loss there for him. Javier Miranda also on a fairly substantial improvement here. 2.5 seconds, 2.6 now, and continuing to grow. Let's get some eyes on him as well. There we go. And we got a shout out in the chat for Miranda as we pull him up here. When it looks like that is Dylan Brick there starting to catch up to him. Maybe, ooh, and Javier is gonna put it off the track there. Maybe missed the braking marker and just outran it a little bit. But unfortunately invalidates the lap. We'll have to take another run at it.
Say that is a very competitive lap time from Dylan Brick. You know, he's raced Porsche, and I don't think I've seen him this far up at the pointy end of things, so that's very, very impressive.
Yeah, I had some bad luck with traffic at Kyalami. I'm not sure if maybe Zandvoort is just a track that, you know, he's like the one person in the planet that's practiced it a whole bunch. But yeah, that pace right there is very, very impressive. And if he can hang on to it, he's potentially looking at a podium finish during the race. But Ryan Garrity going to cross the line and will snag, I believe that is 4th place in class with a 152.235. Edgardo Donoso also going to cross the line with a 152.257, moving him up into 4th place. We'll check in on his lap. Matt Burns starting to pull a slight gap to himself, but still sitting pretty comfortably up in P1 in class. Ilpo Ratsalainen sets his first lap of qualifying with a 151.335. See Javier Miranda back out on the track, now 3 seconds in the Delta almost. Just to give you guys an idea of just how quiet these cars are, let's hop on board with him here. Ooh, that he is blind going up over that hill. Thank goodness that isn't happening during the race.
Yeah, we'll get a nice afternoon race time with a little higher temps. I'm surprised it's this cold. 11 is pretty chilly.
Yeah, maybe they were shooting for the live track conditions in the Netherlands right now, but yeah, I didn't realize just how cold it was, and that's adding, I'm sure, even more complication to this qualifying lap. Trying to get those tires up to temperature is going to be almost impossible with the track as cold as it is, at least in the amount of time they have to do it. Oh, looks like there was almost contact there between Miranda and the BMW behind. Whatever it was that happened there, though, it looks like the other driver backs off a bit. Javier Miranda now 3.3 laps in the Delta. Or 3.3 laps, seconds.
Yeah, he's about 11 seconds off the pace of the front BMW, but it sounds like he's had a decent amount of trouble trying to get a lap in, so hopefully he will be able to do that, as this probably... No, he's not going to. Looks like he just pulled off at turn 1.
Well, we know he'll be starting in front of at least one BMW, though. And who knows, if he's anything like me, he'll find a couple seconds of pace during the race, so having a time on the board is good.
Zach Doran has joined the lobby and is in a cup car. No, didn't think about this. Don't know how they're going to handle that.
Well, they'll be starting at the back of the grid, that is for sure. Stubby McNubby finding some more time in the lap, but Jack Pullen almost a second up on his previous best. And close behind him is going to be Evan Toth. Evan does have about a second of pace on Pullen here. We'll see if that manifests during this lap. It does look like it's already beginning to. As Evan Toth is snugged up behind the rear end of Jack Pullen. About halfway through Sector 3 there, and Jack Pullen goes off wide. I'm not sure if that's to allow Evan through or not, but Evan is up about a half second on his previous best. Now just 2 corners to go. We'll see if he can reel back in the little bit of time he lost there chasing down Jack Pullen. And with that, the timer hits 0, and this qualifying session will come to a conclusion here. Evan Toth going to cross the line with a 1/10 improvement. So that's a 151.040. Just a little bit off of second place there, but will secure himself a third place start on the BMW grid. Stubby McNubby. Let's see where he is on track. Actually, just getting his lap started, will likely have time to finish this lap, and he is going to be the last one to do so. Matt Byrne also out on his final qualifying lap. Has not managed to set an improvement on his first qualifying lap with the 150.16, but didn't really need to. He's held on to that first place starting position this entire qualifying session. Nico Roscosh here. Got about a third of a second in the Delta, as does Stubby McNubby. But there's not too much else to be said about this qualifying session. So at the front of the Porsche Cup Car grid, we've got Ryan Yee, Andy Mayer, and Tomas Ortiz starting on the podium positions. And in the BMW M2 class, we've got Matt Byrne, Dylan Brick, and Evan Toth in 1, 2, and 3. Nico Roscosh going to cross the line with a 1/10 improvement, moving him up a position on Sam Karasala up into 23rd place. It looks like Stubby McNubby also going to secure an improvement here. It's got about a half second. It's bleeding away, though. Rough exit there, but it should be enough for him to post a personal best. Does a 152.732 to end out this qualifying session. Well, Jeff, before I lose you to the race, any final thoughts before we get going here?
Well, I was going to say, I was working behind the scenes to see if you can get permission to, I know we're doing a little housekeeping on stream here, to see if you can move me, so...
yeah, let me see if I can do that here.
See if you can do that, and maybe I'll just start the race in here, and you can punt me back, and then, pull me back in at some point.
It does look like I can drag you back up into the other channel, so I'll go ahead and put you up there. Sir, the best of luck to you. Thanks for joining us for qualifying session, and we'll see how you do out there.
Alrighty.
Good luck. All right, and that was Jeff Spangler joining us here in the commentator's booth. Just for a little bit, give us a little insight from one of the drivers. I am certainly not a very talented driver, but so it's good to get somebody in here who's practicing a little bit more regularly than I do. Let me go ahead. I'm just going to sort some things out here, get things situated and ready for the race. All right, almost got everything sorted out here. Give me my mouse back. All right, so Ryan Yee going to be starting at the front of this race. Let's go ahead and do what we do every week here. And we'll do, oops, not capture a screenshot and cause the screen to go black. Come on. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and do our grid walk here. Get an eye, or our eyes on the grid here. Let me do this really quick just so I can see the entire board. There we go. We do allow fully custom liveries here at Delta Racing League, so I like to go through across the grid and take a look at everybody, especially since we're in a bunch of Porsches and M2s. See what everybody did to make their car look unique against the rest of the grid. That's going to be Ryan Yee there on the left in first place, followed by Andy Mayer and Tomas Ortiz, Michael Yaknis in P4, Sam Snelltrain in P5, Melon Pitch in P6, followed by Nathan Tanner in P7, Genoa Castor in P8, Ben Burchett in P9, and Gibran Stadier in P10, Dustin Fletcher 11, Elliot Levine 12, Hosea Stay in 13, and Liam McNeil in P14. That gets us to the BMW M2's Matt Byrne qualifying in P1 in class, followed by Dylan Brick in P2 and Evan Toth in P3. Ilpo Ruotsalainen in P4, followed by Edgardo Donoso in P6. Ryan Garrity in P7, Jack Polan in P8. Nico Roscosh, or excuse me, Jean Casagina in, let's see, now we're down to P22. I lost track. Nico Roscosh in P23, Sam Karasala in P24, Stubby McNubby in P25, Javier Miranda in P26. Woo. And Jeff Spangler in P27, and Zach Dorn will be starting from the back, showing up a little bit late and miss a qualifying session in P28. Will be very interesting to see what he does from that starting position will certainly be a challenge for him to get up and caught up to the Porsche Cup cars at the starting lap without losing too much time. Let me get my mouse back here. There we go. Get my other camera set up so we can keep this going. And like that, Ryan Yee is going to go ahead and start this formation lap. Last opportunity for the drivers to get their tires up to temperature. Got a shout out in the chat from my boy Matty Byrne. Yeah, Matt Byrne had a very good qualifying session. Qualified in P1 in class, so he'll be starting at the front of the grid for the BMWs. Just to give you an idea of how this may affect the standings. So looking at the front of the Porsche Cup car grid, we've got Ryan Yee in P1. Let me see if he was not present at Kyalami, so he'll be shaking up the grid a little bit. For the finishing standings at Kyalami, we had Tomás Ortiz, Andy Mayer, and Michael Yaknis in P1, 2, and 3. And they have actually managed to qualify very similar to their standings in Kyalami, with Andy Mayer currently sitting P2, Tomás Ortiz starting P3, and Michael Yaknis in P4 basically moved down a position. And looking over at the BMW M2s, we've got Matt Byrne starting in P1, which is consistent with where he started in at Kyalami, followed by Evan Toth in P2, where he's been displaced by Dylan Brick, now sitting P2, Evan Toth P3. And Shu Chen is a no-show, was our third place finisher at Kyalami, has not made an appearance here at Zandvoort, and so Ilpo Raatsalainen will be starting in P4. It'll be interesting to see how that affects the standings once we get to the race. And we do have a request in the chat for a shout out for Javier Miranda, starting P26 in the BMW grid. And we will see how this mixed class season treats him. But rocking a very sporty blue, or cyan and pink livery. I'm a fan of the color scheme. It'll look a lot better once it gets going faster. But the drivers are lining up double file, and we are going to be getting this race underway. I want to say a final thank you to the Delta Racing League staff for putting this all together, to all of the drivers who show up every week to give us some exciting racing to keep our eyes on. But with that, now we just wait for the green flag to wave, the green lights to light up, and we will get this race going, started by Ryan Yee here on the inside, and there's the green flag. And we are going to get this race started. It looks like a good start for Ryan Yee. As for Michael Yaknis there on the inside. Oh, and there's contact already. We've got contact between Andy Mayer and Michael Yaknis. It looks like Andy Mayer spun around, and I'm trying to get the cameras back there in time. There's just no way to do it there. The BMW is now sorting their way through there. And it looks like Andy Mayer has gotten himself sorted back into the BMW grid, but let's take a look at our race leaders here. Ryan Yee getting a runaway. It looks like Sam Snelltrain and Michael Yaknis also have gotten a little bit of a gap there to the rest of the pack, so we're going to be watching Millen Pitch here, trying to chase down Genoa Castor for P4. We've got another yellow flag at the back of the pack. Looks like Edgardo Donoso spun around there in turn 2. Let's keep our eyes over here as well. Let's see here. Zach Doran starting to make his way up the field. This is the Porsche Cup car that joined in late. And uh-oh, we've got another yellow flag. It looks like Javier Miranda, facing the wrong way in the wall, is going to get the car back out facing the right direction. Andy Mayer also working his way through the BMW pack as well. Let's check in with Nathan Tanner and Ben Burchett battling it out right now for P6. Looks like they're chasing down Millen Pitch as well. Ooh, and there's contact there. Nathan Tanner spun around. And we'll have to wait for a while here to get the car back out on track. Fortunately, the Porsche Cup car is now, Matt Byrne just now catching up to them, just to give you an idea of the pace difference already. But it looks like he is going to get back out onto the grid and out in front of Dylan Brick there. Let's check in with our Porsche Cup cars. Racing down the straight. We're already one lap into this race. Let's go ahead and throw the race gaps up there. I keep forgetting to do that at the race start. Zach Doran almost all the way through the BMW field. Now just Matt Byrne to get around. Evan Toth and Dylan Brick changing or trading positions there. It looks like that's just Andy Mayer making his way up. There we go. We've got Andy Mayer and Zach Doran now out in front of the BMWs. Now they just have to chase down the rest of the Porsches. Liam McNeil on the defense here for P7. Got 4 cars battling it out. It's going to be Liam McNeil P7, Jabron Stadier in P8, Ben Burchett P9, Tomás Ortiz in P10. And this is the battle to watch in the Porsche Cup car field now. Got in the chat here, bummed I couldn't make it. Might have had a shot at this track. Oh, this is Andrew Sear. How you doing, Mr. Sear? Bummed to see you not out there as well, but welcome to the stream. And in my opinion, the best seat in the house. Jeff Spangler makes a position up on Sam Carasala. But we cannot take our eyes off this battle for P7 because it is continuing to get even closer to Jabron Stadier, keeping a very narrow gap there to Liam McNeil. Coming around the final bend now. Oh, and it looks like is that Tomás Ortiz there off just a little bit wide there on the exit, but he manages to keep a handle on it. Liam McNeil into turn 1. Oh, and it looks like, oh, that's very close between those other 2 Porsches. Making me nervous. That's going to be Jabron Stadier, and Ben Burchett. Practically right on top of each other. Oh, and they're going to go too wide around turn 3 there. Jabron Stadier on the outside line gets left hung out to dry, and Ben Burchett makes the pass happen. Now Tomás Ortiz is going to have Stadier in his crosshairs. And this battle for 7th is only continuing to heat up. Ben Burchett looking for a way around on the long sweeping left-hand corner. And it looks like he makes the pass happen there. The other Porsche there of Liam McNeil getting a little bit loose allows the other 3 through. Now he's got his work cut out for him to try and get caught up. Yellow flag just in front of him. Dustin Fletcher there. May have gone a little bit off track there, but gets it sorted out before the rest of the field is caught up. Oh, and out wide again, lets another car through there. Ben Burchett capitalizing on the mistake and moves himself up into P6. Dustin Fletcher still having a great race start here, up 3 positions there as he gets passed by Tomás Ortiz. New fastest lap of the race going to be set by Ryan Yee, 137.38. And that is at Race Fuel 2. Certainly impressive. Andy Mayer starting to catch up to the pack now. Jose Este in the crosshairs, though, but Ilpo Ratsalainen. No, that was Liam McNeil, excuse me, off track there. Well, let's check in with the BMWs. Things are starting to heat up at the back of the grid here. Nico Roscosh here. Under some pressure from Stubby McNubby and Jeff Spangler. Oh, and just behind these 2, it looks like Jeff Spangler trying to make a pass happen on Stubby McNubby, and he gets it with a lunge on the inside there. Moving him up into P23. Let's see if Stubby can get it on the cut back in, though. Almost has the room to make it happen, but we'll slot back in behind Jeff Spangler this lap. Andy Mayer and Nathan Tanner getting very close to one another now. And Andy Mayer again qualifying P2. An unfortunate incident there in turn 1 is going to put him in the back of the pack, but Nathan Tanner trying to hang on to P10. Andy Mayer looks for a move on the inside and can't find the room to make it happen. Nathan Tanner really pushing everything, or pushing that for everything he can in this car. You can see the back end getting a little bit loose on the throttle there, but he's keeping it going in a straight line and not under an insubstantial amount of pressure there. Andy Mayer definitely going to be making him stress a little bit. Looks for the move on the outside, goes the long way around, and will end up slotting back behind Nathan Tanner there. Oh, and we've got a yellow flag out in front. Tomás Ortiz. There may have been some contact between him and Ben Burchett there. It looks like he's keeping the car going the right way around. Let's take a look back at the BMW M2s. Nico Roscosh getting passed there by Jeff Spangler on the outside as he gains another position on his charge towards the front of the grid. Let's take a look at Ben Burchett and Tomás Ortiz here. Oh, and that was a bit of a mistake there from Tomás Ortiz. Manages to keep it out of the wall, but is going to get passed by most of the grid there. Now has some work cut out for him to get his way back up into position here. Tomás Ortiz has had a rough race, down 8 positions. Ryan Yee somehow finds more time to capitalize on the previous personal best and secures another fastest lap of the race, 1:37.14. Has almost a 1 second advantage on P2 Michael Yaknis. Jack Poland and Casagina getting pretty close to one another now. But it looks like this battle for what is going to be P8 now. Gibran Stadier on the defense from Nathan Tanner, trying to chase down, I believe that's Dustin Fletcher just in front. Not sure what happened to Andy Mayer there, but he was right on the back of Nathan Tanner. Seems to have lost some time though. And that is giving Nathan Tanner the breathing room he needs to focus on trying to make up the position on Gibran Stadier here. Ooh, and it looks like Dustin Fletcher off wide, gets a little airborne, puts it into the wall. And that is going to allow for an easy pass for those two Porsche Cup cars. But that is a big yellow flag for Dustin Fletcher. It looks like he's going to get himself back onto the racing line here. Ooh, and a little bit of a snap oversteer, snap steer. I can't talk. Anyway, had a hard time getting back on track. Looks like he's back on the racing line. Will continue his lap. Jeff Spangler making a pass there on Sam Carasalo. We'll see what Sam has to say about that, but I think he's just slower around that corner. A good move by Jeff Spangler there to make up another position. It looks like Stubby McNubby and Ryan Garrity now starting to get into it. Javier Miranda is in the pits right now, I think repairing some damage to the BMW. He's been in there for a little bit. Ooh, and a big move there. It looks like our race leader, Ryan Yee, has caught up to some of the Porsches now, or excuse me, some of the BMWs now. The blue flag is waving, makes short work of those passes on Stubby McNubby and Ryan Garrity. Ooh, but we've got some upsets here. Actually, we've got a very tight grid here. Let's hop out to the helicam here. Nathan Tanner's gonna stay out in front of it. Andy Mayer trying to make his way through. Looks like he makes the pass there on the inside on Stadier. Now Stadier and Ortiz are going to be the two battling it out just behind here. Ooh, it's very close there behind Tomás Ortiz. A little bit of a move there on the inside by Ortiz. Is cut off there by Stadier. He's going to hang on to his P9 for now, and it looks like a rough exit there for Ortiz. It's going to gain Gibran some breathing room. Nathan Tanner now starting to have Andy Mayer to worry about. Currently sitting P7, hanging on to his starting position, which is all the more incentive to make Andy Mayer earn this pass. Tomás Ortiz starting to get close to Gibran again. Let's see what Ortiz does here. Looks to the inside, looks to the outside, and it looks like he's going to have to slot in behind Stadier and wait for another opportunity to pass. And Andy Mayer has closed the gap to Nathan Tanner now. Got a little bit of a problem there with my cameras there, folks. Sorry about that. Well, let's check in Tomás Ortiz and Gibran Stadier. Currently the closest battle for position on the field. Javier Miranda still in the pits at this point. I do believe that is going to be a DNF, but I'll keep everybody posted. Ryan Garrity there, the BMW, getting past. Oh, as he's trying to make a move on Edgardo Donoso. Kind of an awkward part of the track for the Porsches to have caught up, but the driver's keeping it nice and clean. You can see there in the background, Ryan Yee, excuse me. I believe that was him, it is. Getting ready to catch up to the other leader in class, Matt Byrne. Let's see how these two handle the pass there. It is very close there, but plenty of room for the Porsche to make the pass on the inside. Got another pack of cars back here. Ilpo Ruotsalainen hanging on to P17, right now P3 in class, and has a Porsche catching up to him. Currently trying to track down Evan Toth for another position. Porsche makes the pass, no problem. Nico Roscosh and Sam Carasala getting pretty close to one another, but we got to take a break from this and go look at Tomás Ortiz and Gibran Stadier, as they have gotten very close to one another. Tomás Ortiz might have a move here. Oh, and he goes a little bit wide and goes into the side of Stadier, and it looks like he gets spun around as a result. Still trying to get his hands on it. It looks like a glancing blow off of the wall. We'll see what he's able to do with the damage. Hopefully not too bad. Andy Mayer and Nathan Tanner weaving their way through some BMW traffic. That's Nico Roscosh and Sam Carasala on screen there. Sam Snelltrain and Genoa Castor getting pretty close to one another. They'll be catching up to Matt Byrne here in just a moment. And to give you guys an idea of the pace difference between the race leaders of each class, Ryan Yee right now, last lap was a 138.9, and Matt Byrne in the BMW, his last lap was a 151.3. So about an 11, well, let's see here. At 38 to, yeah, about 12-second difference between the cars. Oh, and just off screen, we may have seen the pass happen between Andy Mayer and Nathan Tanner. Looks like we just missed it in turn one there. Or excuse me, no, they're in sector 2. Now with some traffic to get around, Tanner gonna have a bit of a challenge trying to catch up to him. Yellow flag on the field. It's gonna be Liam McNeil. And I believe he is going to DNF it because I can't get my cameras back to him. Yeah, and he is going to have it towed back to the pits, and that is his race over. Nico Roscosh and Sam Carasala getting very close to one another. It looks like Tomás Ortiz making a pass on the two of them. Take a look at the battle here. So it's a 152.2 for Sam Carsala on the, is that the fastest lap still? That is the fastest lap still. Let's go to last lap. There we go. Does look like it is advantage Carsala there as we watch Ryan Yee make a pass on the two of them. Yeah, and Sam Carsala about 1/10 faster on that previous lap, losing time in both of these first sectors. Sam Carsala looking for every inch that he can get to try and gain here and potentially make a position as we see Jeff Spangler and Jack Poland trade positions just a little bit ahead of them. And I believe that is Andy Mayer now catching up to these two. Oh, and that is unfortunate timing for Nico Roscosh as that allows Sam Carsala to basically follow the Porsche around the corner. Now Andy Mayer has passed Nathan Tanner. It looks like he has managed to pull a 3.5 second gap to Nathan Tanner as he now tries to make his way back towards the front of the grid. And these two will continue this race. Another lap in the same order. Both of them having good drives, though, up 2 positions from where they qualified. Sam Carsala looks to the inside, runs out of room before he can get there, but now they will be alongside one another almost. Sam has to slot in behind there. Look how close these two are. Let's go ahead and do a little of this. Let's ride on board with Sam here as we watch him try and chase down Nico Roscosh. Ooh, a little bit in the inside there, and we can see Tomás Ortiz starting to catch these two. And it'll be interesting to see from the BMW's perspective just how quickly these Porsches get away from them. And that Porsche is slowly catching up. Oh, we can see just on the brakes how quickly he is able to catch up there, but no room for him to try and make that pass happen there. Ooh, Sam Carsala goes for the move on the inside. And I believe he's got the traction to make it stick. He's got a Porsche right behind him. He's gonna try and weave his way in between the other 2 Porsches, which is just too good for us to miss, but that is going to, unfortunately, dash Sam Carsala's hopes at making a pass in that move. But some good car control and racing behavior there from all 3 drivers. And this battle will continue on another lap, it looks like. But Sam Carsala not letting up. He is still basically right on the rear bumper. Those 2 lapping at almost exactly the same pace that lap. We take a look over at Zach Doran here, having just got around Ilpo Rautsalainen, now Evan Toth in the crosshairs. Ooh, gets a little bit loose there. The slip angle just a little bit overwhelming there, but looks like it'll be relatively consequence-free. Just has to pass some BMWs again. As I say that, it looks like Matt Byrne getting ready to get past again here. And I do want to see that perspective here of Matt Byrne as the Porsche just lets him look like he's standing still there. That is some crazy speed difference there down that straight. Just a little bit farther up in the track, Ryan Garrity, Stubby McNubby, and Edgardo Donoso duking it out for a position here. Oh, as we watch Porsche there in the background get a little bit loose around the exit of that corner, but manages to keep it under control. Looks like they'll make that pass happen relatively drama-free. Yep, and then opening back out on the straight, we've seen how this goes. That Porsche is just going to leave those BMWs in the dust there. Ooh, we see a little bit of a move there by Edgardo Donoso on Stubby McNubby. Manages to close up the gap a little bit. Doesn't quite work for him, though. Not able to get around on the outside like I'm sure he had hoped to, but does close that gap down. And an update on the previous battle we were watching, Nico Roscoe and Sam Carsall are still pretty much stacked on top of one another. And there we go, we see BMW of Sam Snelltrain, or Porsche Cup car of Sam Snelltrain is caught up to this pack we were watching here. And going to kind of filter his way through there, consequence free, although I believe that is Genoa Castor right there for position, chasing him down. Is going to get held up by some traffic here. Unfortunate timing for Genoa Castor, and very lucky timing for Sam Snelltrain there. Does look like that cost Genoa about a half second of pace. Sam Carsall, we can see getting very close there. Stubby McNubby goes off track, but let's check in on these two. Now he is going to have the draft down the straight. Oh, it's going to be real close to these two. We might see them go in too wide. Sam Carsall on the outside, though, is going to have a tough time as the Porsche Cup car catches up to them by the time they get there. And I'm pretty sure these two were halfway down the straight before that Porsche even started making his way down the straight, and manages to catch up to him, and now trying to look for a way through the two of them, but does not want to interrupt this battle for position we've been watching here for a little while now. Sam Carsall on the inside, now wheel to wheel with Nico Roscoe, going too wide, not allowing that Porsche Cup car through, but I believe Sam Carsall is slotting in behind to allow them through. Oh my goodness, and it gets very close between the two of them again. I can't quite make out who that is in the Porsche, but that could not have been a fun time for either of those BMWs. And Nico Roscoe really having to defend here against Sam Carsall. We can see Sam getting on the inside here, but we know that it's a left-hand turn next. He might be able to get the cut back in. But now Sam Snelltrain is here to join the fun. And makes the pass happen, no problem. Sam Carsall looking for a move on the inside here. It's going to be a very tight squeeze there as Genoa Castor catches up to the two of them. But Sam Carsall, making the move happen. We've got the first of our pits coming through. Jose Este serving his. Dustin Fletcher into the pits now. Ben Burchett also having served his mandatory pit. And it is a mandatory pit with tires. Refueling is optional or not allowed, but there is no pit window, so the drivers can choose whenever they want. Michael Yaknis and Sam Snelltrain choosing to serve their pit stops now. Dylan Brick having a very strong drive here, down a position since qualifying, but sitting P4. Let's take a look. I'm going to pull up the last race finishes, just so we can see where he finished on the previous grid, because this is certainly an improvement. Let's take a look at the results here in the BMW M2 grid. Yeah, Dylan Brick finished P8 in class. This is 4 positions up on that. He will certainly be happy with that finish if he can hang on to it. There's going to be Casagina trying to chase him down. Andy Mayer is going to be let out of the pits. And it looks like he's going to be let out into some clean air, so he'll be able to focus on just putting some lap times down. Qualifying P2, I'm sure he'll be able to do that. The pace was there at the race start, just got real unfortunate in turn 1. Let's see how well he's able to recover now. Dylan Brick and Casagina starting to close up that gap a little bit. Turn by turn, it does look like Casagina is reeling him in. And that last lap was a 6/10 difference between the two drivers. Genoa Castor and Nathan Tanner now into the pits. It does look like we have some Porsche Cup cars choosing to repair some damage. I believe Jose Estella and Dustin Fletcher, as well as Ben Burchett among them. But Casagina getting very close to Dylan Brick now. Looks for the move on the inside, almost contact between the two of them. Genoa Castor is let out of the pits into some clean air behind Sam Snelltrain. Ryan Yee, the race leader, now into the pits. And we are about at the halfway mark, so that is making sense. 30 minutes and 18 seconds remaining on the clock. It looks like these two getting caught up to by Mellon Pitch. Currently sitting P2. Oh, and Casagina into the pits. That leaves Dylan Brick to continue his drive out there. Mellon Pitch making a pass on the inside there. Let's see, Mellon Pitch currently sitting P1, but has not served his pit stop yet. Let's see where he comes out when he serves that pit stop. Looks like he'll come out in P5. Tomás Ortiz and Gibran Stadier both into the pits now. Looks like Tomás Ortiz in just a couple seconds ahead of Stadier. We'll see how they exit. Mellon Pitch just working his way through the BMW field at this point. Let's go ahead and ride on board with him as he does so. Weaving his way through the course like there's nothing there. Now into the corner there, he's going to go too wide with Ben Burchett. Excuse me, that's Stubby McNubby. Now is caught up to Evan Toth, going to make his pass there. And it really just goes to show you how stark of a comparison of top speeds there are between the BMWs and the Porsches. It looks like he is going to stay out another lap. Evan Toth there into the pits. And at this point, I believe he's basically got clean air, so why not stay out? Guess it depends on his fuel strategy, I suppose. Ryan Garrity really starting to apply some pressure to Stubby McNubby here. So we've got another car into the pits. This is going to be Sam Carsala for his mandatory pit stop. And I believe that is race leader Ryan Yee now, who has caught up to them. And the white flag is waving for him, having to slow down, catching up to these BMWs. Excuse me, that is Dustin Fletcher there. Oh, Nathan Tanner under some pressure here. Just caught that out of the corner of my eye. Tomás Ortiz is out in front of him. Nathan Tanner, though, a great move on the inside there. And Tomás Ortiz gets a little unsettled there. And it looks like a successful move done for Nathan Tanner, moving him up into P8. Matt Byrne into the pits now. Evan Toth, and that is Dustin Fletcher again, I believe. No, that is number 7. No, 17. There are a lot of highlighter yellow Porsches on the screen. That is Ben Burchett there in the Porsche, passing Evan Toth. But Ryan Garrity and Stubby McNubby now have gotten close to one another again. Melon Pitch still out on the track. The only Porsche Cup car to have not served the mandatory pit stop yet. And right now, he is still in clean air. So as long as his lap times are improving, there's no reason for him not to stay out. Ryan Garrity just looking for any way around Stubby McNubby, and he may have made that happen here. Great move on the outside, lines him up for a pass on the inside, and Stubby McNubby has to hit the brakes to not go right into the back of him. That is a great move there by Ryan Garrity. Moving him up into P23, but Stubby McNubby is staying locked onto that BMW out in front and not giving up the ground just because the pass happened. Out in front of them, though, Ilpo Rautzalainen has caught up to Evan Toth in the battle for P2 in class. And we can see at Porsche Cup cars not wasting any time to try and get around them. Well, let's take a look a little farther up in the grid here. Genoa Castor on the defense. Andy Mayer has caught up to him. And Andy Mayer, we saw very rough start at the beginning of the race, got spun around in turn 1, basically moved to the back of the pack, has worked his way back up to P6, and has his sights on P5. And Genoa Castor is going to be the one to either deny him or lose the position to him. With a purple first sector there out of Andy Mayer, though, Genoa Castor's got his work cut out for him. Oh, man. Andy Mayer really looking for any inch of ground that he can gain here on Castor. But Castor doing an excellent job of maintaining that gap to the car behind. We can see there Andy Mayer lunging towards him at every corner entry. And I don't know if that's a lack of patience or a driving line I'm just not aware of. But he is looking for any way around Genoa Castor right now. actually, we've got another very close battle starting to emerge between Nathan Tanner and Tomás Ortiz that we will check in with here in just a little bit. But Ilpo Ruotsalainen starting to get very close now to Evan Toth for P2. Nico Roscosh and Sam Carasala have also caught up to one another again, and those two will be duking it out again. Ooh, and there's contact between Genoa Castor and Stubby McNubby. Very, very light contact there, passing a blue flag car. I'm sure that will be looked at by the stewards a little bit later. Well, let's check in on this battle between Nico Roscosh and Sam Snelltrain, or not Sam Snelltrain, Sam Carasala, excuse me. And on the other side of your screen, we'll be watching the battle between Nathan Tanner and Tomás Ortiz, excuse me. I'm trying to look at two cameras at once. It's a lot. Me and my little pea brain. Hamster's working overtime already. Ooh, Sam Snelltrain. Oh, Sam Carasala overshoots it, outbrakes himself into turn one. Thought that looked a little aggressive. And unfortunately loses a lot of ground there. And we'll have to fight to get that ground back. Melon Pitch has finally gone into the pits. And now Tomás Ortiz and Nathan Tanner are going to try and battle out to see who is going to finish this race in P9. 20 minutes left on the clock here. 2/3 of the race down. And Tomás Ortiz is going to use the draft to try and make a slingshot on the outside. Let's see if it works for him. He does edge out in front, but Nathan Tanner on that inside line has every advantage to get the power down earlier. And is going to sneak out in front of him once again. But my goodness, zero breathing room being given to Nathan Tanner here. Ryan Yee goes and outpaces himself again with a 137.110. Oh, and it's going to go too wide into this corner. It looks like a successful dive there by Tomás Ortiz on the inside. Barely manages to hang on to it, but does get the pass done. Now Nathan Tanner is going to have to try and fight and get it back. Not that I want to look away from this battle, but Genoa Castor and Andy Mayer have now gotten very close to one another, going into turn one, passing a BMW. And that is actually Nico Roscosh there. Genoa Castor doing an excellent job of maintaining that gap and not giving very much room for Andy Mayer to get around. And honestly, this is a pretty high skill task here for Genoa Castor to try and pull off with the faster driver behind. We can see there has almost 6/10 of pace on him in the previous lap. Genoa Castor cannot make a mistake here. We can see there Andy trying to set up the pass, but Castor doing a good job of making sure there's no room to make it happen. But just like that, now they are going to go side by side into the next corner. Andy Mayer has a run on the outside, but the inside line's going to go to Castor. Oh, and that's going to be a tough move to defend against there by Mayer, and makes the move happen. Moving him up into P4, recovering another position from the race start. But it is not over yet, though. Genoa Castor has locked in on the rear bumper of that Porsche out in front. And even with the draft there, I don't know if he's going to be able to get the position back. Looks to the inside and slots back in behind And very interesting. Oh, never mind. That's because the UI glitched. Oh, there's contact between the two of them there. I thought they tied each other's lap times, but that's just because for some reason I have Andy Mayer up there twice. Evan Toth and Ilpo Rautzalainen now very close to one another, and it looks like the UI has glitched out a little bit because it is saying he's got a 1,600-second gap. That is very evident that that is not the case. And it looks like they're a Porsche wanting to weave his way through the battle here. That's the number 453 car. That's Michael Yaknis, currently sitting P2. Michael Yaknis having a pretty drama-free drive here. Both him and Sam Snelltrain really only battling just to make their way through the BMW fields. But that said, Sam Snelltrain, that is about to change, as Andy Mayer is starting to shrink down that gap. Now 1.7 seconds between the two of them. But Evan Toth here really having to put the defense on. I am not sure why that gap says it is what it is, but that is certainly not the case. Let's take a look at their last lap comparisons here. Ilpo Rautzalainen doing a 151.1. And Evan Toth with a 151.0 does have about a 1/10 advantage on that previous lap. Let me see if maybe if I do something like this, if that fixes the gaps. It does not. There we go. We see Sam Snelltrain and Andy Mayer are catching up to this battle. So we're going to watch both of them at the same time here. Ilpo Rautzalainen and Evan Toth battling for second place in the BMW class. And Andy Mayer and Sam Snelltrain are going to be battling for, I believe that is third place. And actually, we're going to throw the cameras back on them, because they are going to pass these two on the straight. Maybe both of them have time to get through. Yes, they do. Sam Snelltrain to the outside. And this will be for P3. Andy Mayer really applying some pressure to Sam Snelltrain now. That gap is inside half a second, but we've got a huge yellow flag. It looks like Genoa Caster and Ilpo Rautzalainen involved. Ilpo now just getting it back on the track. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the replay on that, see what happened. Ah, there's contact between Ilpo and a passing Porsche. There's actually double contact there. And unfortunately, Ilpo's gets the worst of it and is spun around. Sam Snelltrain doing everything he can to defend against the passing Andy Mayer. Ooh, looks for the move on the inside. Can't make it happen this lap, though. Now catching up to Matt Byrne, the BMW class leader. Looks like a nice clean pass there by everybody involved. Ooh, it gets very close between Andy Mayer and Matt Byrne there, but they managed to get through there without trading paint. A yellow flag for Jose Estee there, the final corner, but gets it sorted back out. May have just run a little bit wide. What is remarkable here is just how similar the pace is between these two, and I'm not sure if that's just because Andy Mayer can't find a way around, as we can see him weaving back and forth, trying to find that way around, and unfortunately is unable to find it. But right now, this is the closest battle for position on the field, so this is where we are going to be. Ooh, a little bit wide there for Andy Mayer. But Sam Snell Train right now hanging on for dear life. 10 minutes left in this race. Oh, we've got an update in the chat. From Edgardo Donoso, second disconnection in a row. Man, that is, I usually say bad luck, but that's racing, but that's twice in a row that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Right now, we are watching the battle for third place overall between Sam Snell Train and Andy Mayer. Andy Mayer having a rough start to the race. Got punted in turn one a little bit and has been recovering the race ever since. Managed to race his way back up to P4. And right now, Sam Snell Train in his way of a P3 finish. Sam Snell Train dives to the inside to try and confuse Andy Mayer. Andy Mayer goes the long way around and may have the speed to make the move happen. They are going to be side by side at the exit, but Sam Snell Train just a little bit ahead as Andy Mayer dips out into the sand and bleeds away just enough speed for Sam Snell Train to hang on to that position for another couple turns here. I'm not sure what I just missed. I was looking over trying to figure out a replay, but it appears that Nathan Tanner has overtaken Tomás Ortiz. Ooh, Andy Mayer getting a little impatient there, outbrakes himself into the corner. It gives Sam Snell Train some breathing room. And that cost him about a half second there. Now getting around Ryan Garrity. This is great timing for Sam Snell Train and horrible timing for Andy Mayer. Yeah, and as we can see there, 6/10 advantage to Sam Snell Train on that previous lap. Take a check back in with these two in just a little bit. Right now, Ryan Yee, race leader, working his way through some traffic. Getting around a lapped Porsche and now trying to get away around, I believe that's Ilpo Rautalainen. Looks like another BMW going to sort their way around Ilpo. Oh, and a yellow flag on Melon Pitch. It looks like he has kissed the wall there a little bit. We just missed it, so let's snap back 10 seconds and see what happens here. Ooh, got a little bit loose there on the outside and knocks the rear wing into the wall. Hopefully that is not too consequential of damage for him. But now he's gonna have another shot at passing BMW class leader right now, Matt Byrne. And he makes the pass happen. Let's check back in with Sam Snelltrain and Andy Mayer again. As there are just 6 minutes left in this race, and Sam Snelltrain is managing to fight for his life in a third place, so I should say, well, maybe not for his life, but for his third place finish here. Oh, and it looks like they're going to drag race there. The UI got a little confused there. They got inside of the pit indicator line there. Ooh, and a little loose there for Andy Mayer. Maybe just a bit of a love tap between the two of them there, but nobody getting spun around or taking damage because of it. Bad timing for Nico Roscosh there to get caught up to by those Porsche Cup cars, but he manages to keep it planted. These two are still duking it out. Nathan Tanner getting ready to pass race leader Matt Byrne here, and he is getting caught up to by some competition. Tomas Ortiz is looking for his P8. Yeah, I agree with chat here. Incredible racing from Mayer and Sam Snelltrain. I want to look away, but this is the battle to watch right now. And they're catching up to Jack Pullen now, and we'll get around him no problem. Ben Burchett starting to catch Genoa Caster and makes the pass happen as if, well, as if Genoa Caster has run out of gas. I am not sure what happened there. I'm gonna do something I don't normally do and DM him and see what happened there. If I can find him over here. I don't see him in voice chat, so I guess we'll have to wait until after the race to find out what happened there. Yeah, it looks like he's out of fuel with 3 minutes left in the race. Unfortunately, will be a DNF for him. Yep. Yeah, that one we knew. Again, just an update from the chat that refilling fuel isn't allowed. It's just the tires are mandatory there. We can see Andy Mayer trying to go for a move on the outside of Sam Snelltrain there. Unable to make it happen. Now catching up to Dylan Brick. God, and look at just how close there. Andy Mayer is getting zero respect for Sam Snelltrain's personal space. And he's looking for any way around, makes a lunge on the outside. Is this when it is going to happen, folks? It may have outbroken himself, and Sam Snelltrain stays on the inside and is able to hang on to the position for another lap. And this has just got to be maddening for Andy Mayer right now. But Sam Snelltrain, I'm sure, filled with adrenaline, knows he doesn't have much longer he needs to hang on for. And he will get his podium finish. This will be his first podium finish of the season, finished in P7 at Kyalami. So he is definitely going to have motivation to hang on to this position he's got right now. We'll go ahead and just do a couple of updates on some other battles happening around the field right now. We've got Nathan Tanner and Tomás Ortiz there on your screen. They're going to be battling it out and getting very close here for P7. Back in the M2s, we also have, I believe, Evan Toth and Casagina getting fairly close to one another. But the gap timer is a little bugged out. Yeah, he is catching up to Evan Toth there. But Snell Train and Mayer are still the battle to watch for the probably the remainder of this race. Will most likely be their final lap of the race. And now just a half second divides these two drivers. Catching up there to Jeff Spangler. They will be right on top of him, charging up the hill. And get around him fairly drama-free. That is Tomás Ortiz up in front there. And I'm sorry if you are getting tired of watching these two. This has been the battle to watch for the last 10 minutes as we watch the clock get ever closer to ticking down to 0. Now 2/10 separate these two drivers. Went a little bit loose there from Andy Mayer. That may be the breathing room that he needs. Tomás Ortiz spun around, Jose Estee in the wall. The leader has finished the race, and these two are going to be racing to the finish now. Just 2/10 separating them, and not much left of the track. Just 4 corners to go. Andy Mayer looks to the outside. Sam Snell Train on the inside. Let's see who picked the better line. Oh, and it looks like that inside line would have put Andy Mayer off the track. Sam Snell Train lunges ahead now. A 1 second gap, and that may be enough for him to hang on to 3rd place as he rounds the final 2 corners, and Andy Mayer is not going to be able to close that gap. And let's ride on board with him as we watch Sam Snell Train is going to cross the line in P3 in a very hard-fought battle between him and Andy Mayer to earn his first podium position finish of the season. A finish I'm certain he's going to be happy with. Ryan Yee finishing in P1, Michael Yaknis finishing in P2. Sam Snell Train P3, followed by Andy Mayer in P4, and we gotta just highlight again, Andy Mayer putting on a phenomenal performance. Yes, losing the battle to Sam Snell Train, but after an unfortunate incident on lap 1, manages to race his way from the literal back of the pack all the way to P4. And I believe I'm gonna, if we were doing driver of the day, he's my winner. Ben Burchett finishing in P5, Melon Pitch is gonna cross the line in P6. Nathan Tanner is going to cross the line in P7, followed by Tomás Ortiz coming around the final corner to finish in P8. Gibran Stadier finishing in P9, and Dustin Fletcher in P10. As for the, the M2s, Matt Byrne finishing in P1, Evan Toth in P2, Casagina in P3, Jeff Spangler in P4, Ilpo Ruotsalainen finishing in P5, Dylan Brick in P6, Jack Pullen in P7, Nico Roskosh in P8, Sam Karasala in P9, and Ryan Garrity in P10 for the class. And that is going to do it for us this weekend. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined us. Oh, that's the wrong, yeah, we're not gonna do that. Let's go to the pre-roll. I forgot I don't have an exit card for that. But thank you so much to everybody who joined us. That has been our 1 hour mixed class race here at Zandvoort, and it was as exciting as we were all hoping it was going to be. For anybody who is, or where was I going with that? I forgot. Oh, excuse me. Anybody who's going to be joining us next week we are going to be at, as soon as it loads, Nürburgring, and I actually will not be here, so I don't know if it is going to be streamed, but I will not be making this race. Yeah, my brain is shutting off, man. I've had a long day. That was a lot of racing to watch there at the very finish, especially between Snell Train and Mayer. Pretty much wore me out. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off now before I get stuck up again. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I will not be streaming this next weekend, but the week after that, we will be for the season finale at Imola, and I hope to see you all then. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here at Delta Racing League.